Okay, well, I guess we should stop dancing around this. We should get to the crux, the meat of this discussion. Do you, in fact, look like Kylo Ren in real life?
Yes, I do.
Ah.
Just be happy with who you are.
Well, I've been spending the night, the last 4 hours, doing math on Super Tuesday, and
Awesome. Oh well,
damn,
the fact
dude.
that you're depressed isn't great, but sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, there are some good and some bad things, I guess. I guess the good things is that I'm pretty confident Bernie is going to win a plurality of the votes,
Especially from
Super
California
Tuesday.
and Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas might be a bit closer, actually. I
Really?
don't know if you know. Yeah, I don't know if you know. Beto just endorsed
Yeah, I saw
Biden.
that. Yeah.
Like an hour ago.
Yep.
Yeah, right now I talked a lot with Dylan. Do you know Dylan Burns?
Yeah, I love Dylan.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Texas, and he says he thinks Biden is going to slightly win, but I have Bernie winning by 4 points right now based on my calculations.
So that's awesome. And how do you get to your metrics?
There's a lot. So I guess I looked at I have a baseline of their basically the polling data, and then I sort of adjust from there. And the way that I go by it is that I look at the people who dropped out, so Buttigieg and Amy, and I sort of try to distribute their points in a fair manner. And the way that I decide how much to distribute is that first off, I take about 20% off of their points from early voting, which is about where the early voting is for the Super Tuesday states. And then I take about 10% off for people who are going to vote for them regardless. And then I distribute the remaining points based on their second and third preferences.
And so what are your findings? Why are you depressed?
Well, I guess Bernie isn't doing as great as I'd hoped. Surprisingly, though, I find that Warren is doing really well compared to what I thought. So based on my calculations, I have Bernie getting 545 delegates from Super Tuesday, Biden at 388, Bloomberg at 158, and Warren at 245. So Warren almost getting 60% of Biden's delegates, which is I think quite a lot.
I'm just gonna open a Google Doc because I want to write this all down.
Yeah, I can actually post you my spreadsheet.
Okay, awesome.
I made a whole spreadsheet so you can plug in your own predictions and stuff. If you wanna do that.
Fantastic. So, what do we got here? So your final count is Bernie with 545.85, Biden with 388.28, Bloomberg with 158.07, Warren with 242. So Warren does decidedly better than anyone predicted in your scenario. Biden kind of performs as expected, and so does Bernie, within slight adjustments, I guess. And Bloomberg still walks away with 158. Wow.
Yeah, Bloomberg is so hard because Bloomberg is, if you take a look at his numbers, he's just around 15 on so many states. Based on polling and his momentum, and it's so hard because he might just decide I wanna get to 15 in this state, and he just drops a few million in ads on the last few days, and then he might swing that. So yeah, it's super hard.
Do you already have some kind of correlation between how he performs in given areas, how many delegates he might have versus how much he spends on ads? Are they actually effective, or is it just affecting boomers?
No, the only thing that I have been sort of trying to map out is that I think that there's, and I think that makes sense, that there's a diminishing return on how much money you can spend, right? Because there's a limited amount of ads you can buy, and people at some point people get tired of watching the same ads and stuff. So that's why I also don't think that it makes sense for Bloomberg to drop out and just spend all his money on Biden, because Biden is already going to be spending money himself, and I don't think money alone is going to buy it. I think you need some kind of like organization, boots on the ground. You need some kind of hype, like natural hype and stuff. And that's why I think Bloomberg also isn't doing as well as he could have, because he only has like the money.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess we should stop dancing around this. We should get to the crux, the meat of this discussion. Do you, in fact, look like Kylo Ren in real life?
Yes, I do.
So it's not just a clever name. That's awesome.
No.
Kylo Ren's a really cool looking dude.
Yeah, I agree. And this Star Wars has been the best thing that happened to my dating life since, I don't know.
That's fucking awesome. Hell yeah. Do you actually walk up to people and be like, I'm Kylo Ren's cousin?
No. People actually walk up to me and are like, you actually look so much like Kylo Ren. And I've actually like gotten bought drinks like in the city because people think, yeah.
Wow. So yeah, you're Adam Driver basically. That's awesome. He's a very handsome dude.
Oh.
Anyways, give me your sales pitch. Why is Elizabeth Warren crucial to stay in the race?
So this is the thing, right? And I feel like a lot of people are missing just the details in what's going to happen at the Democratic convention, right? So a lot of people jump straight to super delegates are going to be shit for Bernie, and I completely agree. If it ever gets to super delegates, I feel like Bernie is losing 100%. But what's going to happen when all the states are done and the convention starts, the first round, what's going to be happening at the end of the first round is that the candidates will have the ability to pledge their delegates to another candidate in order to gain a majority, like combined majority, and like coalesce their candidates. And what I think is going to happen is that if Warren can put Bernie over 50% with her delegates, she's going to do it. And she's going to do it for either like a VP spot or like somewhere in the administration. And it doesn't make sense for Warren to do anything else unless she thinks she can actually win.
Yeah. So this isn't the first time I've heard this, though, that Warren is basically on this course of action, not because... Sorry?
She's going to be the kingmaker.
Yeah, that's basically it, right? That she's not doing this because she thinks that she herself could become the president, but that she wants to get as many delegates as possible before the convention to be able to have that power.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then the only X factor, or I guess the Y factor in this case when it comes down to it, though, is what makes her do that. Like, that's... A lot is hinging on that as well, right?
Of course, yeah, and all the arguments I would make is to that effect, right? So first off, some people are saying she's going to endorse Biden. I don't see that happening because first off, I mean, she's further from Biden's policies than Bernie's by a lot. First off, second, she's actively been attacking all the moderates way more than she's been attacking Bernie,
especially Bloomberg,
and and third, if she is going to do that, she's going to be the fourth candidate who does that. Where Biden already has promised things to Amy, to Buttigieg, and to Bloomberg, very key. So if Warren was to do this, she would be coalescing with Bloomberg as well and Biden. And I think that's so unlikely. The only way I would see that happening is if Biden has already won. Basically, he already has almost a 50% with the other candidates and with Bloomberg, and then she's just gonna do it because she just wants to be part of the.
Well, that's it, right? Team. You don't think that she's a bit of a political opportunist, that she wouldn't take that opportunity given it?
For sure. But I think the more likely scenario, if this is a possibility, right? This is a big if. But if she can bring Bernie over 50%, I think she's going to take that opportunity because she's going to be the only one on Bernie's side. So she has all the power in terms of negotiating, right?
Yes, I agree with you there. I think that it makes way more sense. She's way more ideologically in tune with someone like Bernie Sanders. But then if I could give you some of the feels over the reels, why she got to be throwing so much shade? Like, why?
Yeah, I mean,
why no handshake, man? Like, that made me sad, you know. So I don't know what's going on.
I agree. The handshake is sad.
And why all the back channel stuff? Like, what's going on there, dog?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think honestly, if I were to try and really understand, I think Warren, in her heart of hearts, right now, thinks that she can actually win. I know it might sound fucking stupid, and I agree. But I do think she thinks she can win right now.
I think that's the first thing you've said that I might disagree with. Unless you're delusional, you would have enough, they would have staff with people who are deeper into analytics than either you or me are, right?
Yeah,
I'd say at the very least. And one of them could very easily tell them there's just no mathematical possibility in which you can do this. There isn't. It's very simple.
But this is what I think. Okay, this is what I think she's hoping. And I agree that this is really stupid. And I hope that this is not the case. But it might be the case that she thinks that what's going to happen in a brokered convention is that she is going to try first to convince the other candidates that she is the compromise candidate. Right, and there has been some precedents of this happening previously, where it wasn't one of the first two candidates who got it, but actually the third place because they couldn't agree.
Yep.
And I think maybe she hopes this is going to happen again.
And then somehow two candidates with vastly more delegates, vastly more public support, vastly more votes in democracy, no less, are suddenly just going to bend the knee to her because she has a proposal. I do not see that happening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the feels over the reals. It's just too grandiose.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. I think it's this extreme long shot.
I think you're a lot closer to being right about the fact that she's probably holding delegates, and like I said, you're not the first person to tell me this, to be a kingmaker. And if that's the case, sure, fair enough. That seems so like her. That plays into her narrative very closely to me. I can totally see her doing that. And then I'll give it to you. It would make more sense to me for her to go alongside someone like Bernie Sanders. All right. It's more in line with her, beliefs now. Not always. She did used to be a Republican, right? I don't know if you heard that new audio tape that came out today. That was pretty damning. But anyways, everyone changes. It's been years. It's been years and years and years. So I think I agree with you. Bernie Sanders is closer to her, beliefs at the core.
And also, there's a difference between when we say Warren used to be a Republican and Bloomberg used to be a Republican, right? There's a vast difference.
I completely agree with you. Yeah. That's still a little bit of a Hail Mary, though, right?
I think
it's
my
more
argument,
probable than not. I just don't like chances like that. I'd rather not even leave it to chance like that. Anyway, sorry.
But I think this is ultimately, I think this is better than her dropping out and endorsing Bernie now. And I'll argue for this as well.
Sure.
So if she dropped out now and endorsed Bernie, okay, so this is even assuming that she would endorse Bernie, right? But let's say she did.
Sure.
So right now, based on second and third choice voting, she has Bernie as her second choice with about 40%, which is that's a big margin. That's bigger than, I think, almost any candidate, right? But that would still leave at least or around 50% of her voters going somewhere else, possibly. And a lot of those would have gone to Amy Klobuchar before she dropped out.
A percentage, for sure.
Yeah, percentage. But the other ones would be going to Biden, which is somebody she shares a lot of voters with, especially people who are college educated, more rich white people.
Yep. No, absolutely. I don't think anyone's votes kind of just, they don't exist in a vacuum. They don't go to one end. There's not a linear candidate that they just filter into directly, right? That doesn't exist. They basically distribute amongst candidates, usually in the favor of one. And that's not entirely always predictable or quantifiable. But yeah, you're right. It would basically do that. And in the meantime, you think that she, as let's just say a blob gathering all those votes, instead of where those votes could be led astray if they were just left on their own, right? If they were just out to pasteurize and they just ran around, right? She's better just collecting them all to be used as superdelegates.
Yes.
Hinging, and this is a huge hinging on the fact that hopefully she votes for Bernie Sanders if she has enough to do the kingmaker.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's much more likely that right now, if you're looking at the data and sort of, I did a quick math. So based on my calculations, and I think based on probably as 538 as well, if you sort of count Warren and Bernie as the quote unquote progressives, and you count Bloomberg and Biden as the moderates, the progressives are actually beating the moderates by quite a. So in that sense, it seems that if Warren and Bernie combine their votes, they actually might be able to go even quite a margin above the 50%. I would say maybe even 55 if we're being a bit generous at the end.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And sure. Yeah, so and her also campaigning also leaves the possibility that she's going to be getting more money from people who wouldn't necessarily donate money to Bernie, like the wine moms, the generally women don't really go for Bernie that much compared to what we would like. So, and these people, even if Warren endorsed Bernie, they might vote for Bernie, but I don't think they would donate to Bernie in the same amount that they would to Warren, right? So I feel like by staying in the campaign, she can keep collecting money. She can keep building up her own campaign and getting more delegates. And in the end, she's going to have a bigger chance to sort of, I guess, bargain with those delegates when it comes to convention time.
I'm just going to a political article. Sanders and Warren voters have astonishingly little in common. His backers are younger, make less money, have fewer degrees, and are less engaged in politics.
Yeah, exactly, and that's an argument for her staying in, right? Because if she dropped out, well,
absolutely.
Are they really going to go to Bernie? Yeah. But if she stays in, she can pledge them to Bernie. Then they don't really have a choice.
Yeah, it's just that all hinges on the gamble of whether or not she would do that. Whereas, like, I agree with you. I think she would, unless she was like, oh, what if she got a better offer? Like, I could see that happening as well, right?
What's a better offer? Like, let's think about it, right? So Biden has already made deals with at least like 3 candidates, right? And he made these deals before, like the Warren deal.
Sure.
And Bernie,
he didn't give any of them to VP. That did not just happen. No.
Exactly. So I think, honestly, what I think, and even though I think it's ultimately not the best thing for Bernie, I think Bernie is going to be forced to give Warren maybe VP, but most likely like a big position in his cabinet. And I think that's what she's hoping for. I personally think that Warren as a VP wouldn't be good for Bernie. But if it brings him above the 50%, I mean, he's gotta do it.
Oh, no, I'm totally on board with that. I was saying that to my chat earlier today. I was like, no, I'm incredibly pragmatic. And I'll be totally honest with you. I'm almost completely for your theory, hinging on the fact that, like, I think it is, like, first off, there's the problem with she could be siphoning votes away from Bernie in terms of delegates, right? If for some reason at a certain point he doesn't get over the 15% line, and that happens to have a little bit to do with Warren, and it makes something invalid because of that. Sorry, go ahead.
But I don't think Bernie has a chance of getting above 50% right now, unless Super Tuesday goes like way better than expected. So I'm looking at alternatives, right? So yeah,
I like that you've made predictions in like very solidified numbers, because tomorrow I can look at these and be like, well, he was actually really close on this, so maybe his theories will bear fruit.
Well, I hope so.
So the only other thing that I want to ask you then is that when it comes to her ultimately down the road potentially voting for Bernie Sanders or potentially voting for someone else, what if it doesn't even matter? Like, her delegates won't make enough of a difference for either candidate. So then what was the point?
Then she played herself, I guess.
Well, and you as well in your theory, right? Because she could have been...
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but the worst case is the same as like her not mattering at all, right? So I mean, I think it. Wait, I said that poorly. So right now the worst case is Bernie not getting enough votes and Biden winning. And if it comes to the point where Warren delegates are meaningless, that's the same as just Biden winning, right? So it doesn't matter if she pledges them to Biden, because Biden's going to win anyway. So I don't think there's a point in sort of going with that scenario.
Yeah, even like exploring that hypothesis. Fair enough. I've changed my, I'm very adaptable. I changed my opinion on this quite a bit when it comes to someone like Bloomberg, for example. I was like, he was public enemy number 1 maybe like 2 weeks ago, and right now I'm thrilled that he's still in the race, because if he wasn't, it would just be basically a lot of his votes I think would be going to Joe Biden instead of Bernie Sanders, for example. So he's playing a very good position for me right now, so I'm for that.
Bloomberg right now is is actually fucking it up for Biden. And the reason why he's fucking it up for Biden is because Bloomberg is like just on the cusp in so many states. And if he goes just below 15,
yeah, I know.
That is
it's fucking awesome. Yeah, it's fucking
that's
awesome.
so bad for Biden.
Yeah, it's amazing. Keep doing it, please. Maybe I will start working for the Bloomberg campaign. So that being said, I'm fine. Especially if the numbers bear out and it turns out that I agree. Just like even without the us having like any kind of quantifiable data, I like the idea of her being a vacuum, basically. And like keeping together all the people who could, run astray and start going into other camps and maybe vote for other people. And in the meantime, she has them all. But I despise the idea of her ultimately having the choice. Like if this comes down to Elizabeth Warren, like that really frightens me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But I mean, right now, it's not looking good for Bernie compared to what it was like a week ago. So, I mean, like if Bernie's got to win that way, then he's got to win that way, I think.
Well, yeah, that as well as the fact, though, like I think at the end of the day, if they're going to go into a brokered convention, Bernie has an overwhelming amount of delegates and like no one had a mathematical chance of catching up. And like you would be ignoring the will of democracy at that point. I think you would have like an outrageous brokered convention. Like there would be riots, kind of things.
Yeah,
just
I
like
agree.
the ones in the past. So
I agree. I think right now, so this is how I usually explain it. So I think if Bernie gets anywhere between 45 to almost 50% of the vote, I think they just gotta give it to Bernie, or else it's gonna be a loss to Trump 100%. But if Bernie gets like maybe 40% or like maybe like 38, then it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, and at that point, I mean, look, I don't know. This is like maybe a shitty take or whatever, or not a popular take. But I mean, at that point, if Bernie gets maybe 35 to 38%, I don't know how you could justify just giving it straight up to Bernie. Yeah, I'm looking at your stream.
Oh yeah, I just pulled this up and I was like, holy shit, he does look like Kylo Ren. How's it going, Adam Driver?
Hey.
Yeah, wow, that is uncanny. Bravo. Yes, Radical Reviewers, 1968, the brokered convention that did result in a riot. That was wild. All right, what is it? ScuffedDario. Do you want to plug your stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm ScuffedDario on Twitch and on Twitter and on YouTube. I just started streaming seriously like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm loving it so far. I stream every single day at 10 p.m. my time, which is, I don't know, you can see my schedule. If you want to listen to discussions and debates, I do that every single night with different people. So yeah, it was I enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, that was an absolute pleasure, my friend.
Hey you, yes, you. Do you like cozy environments with other wholesome people? Well then come join the Discord. It's got a whole bunch of stuff to help you with creative endeavors, such as stock footage, royalty-free music, and an amazing community of people looking to help each other out and uplift your content. Join the Discord now by going to weareserfs.com. That's weareserfs.com.
We would like to thank Miranda Marone. You are our monarch, and we thank you for our indentured servitude. We would like to thank our lords, Ricky Pilgrim, I'm Raft, Michaela Schmid, Tomospin, Ferrer Tajon. You are all the pillars of our organization. To our Knights of the Square Table, Paul Parafit, Daniel Kahn, Clement Chutskoff, Alan R., Josh Mickelson, and Dr. Zayas, Cooper Pilot, Andrea Lynn Epperly, Dylan Bythe, Terry, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. And to our merchants, thank you for taking mercy upon us.